Good morning, Red Mountain. On this episode of Red Mountain Radio, we have, actually, it's a full house today. We have 3 new guests. Go ahead, please introduce yourself. All from the football team.
My name is Benjamin Drake.
My name is Carson Mauterer.
And Zay Savoie.
And Seth Barron.
This is coming off of an incredible run in the postseason where we had absolutely no momentum going into the postseason. You KO Mountain View. How did that feel?
It was a good get back because I think that's what really fueled us off to the start. Is losing to Mountain View really lit a fire under us and really made us push for this title, because once we lost to Mountain View, there was a different kind of anger, a different kind of sign that we needed to get our stuff together.
It was just nice to win a playoff game. I ain't even gonna lie. I've never won a playoff game in my high school career, and it was just nice to like advance and be able to go further in the playoffs.
For me, it was you could tell it was personal. That whole game was just personal. So to win that and not go out as losing to Mountain View, which I'm so glad all of us seniors didn't have to go through that. But
I just really dislike Mountain View, so like beating them felt good. And it's my senior year, so we got to beat them for our last time.
So can you just give us a week-by-week breakdown of what happened to each opponent, starting from week 1, which was against Mesa?
Man, that seems like forever ago, to be honest. But against Mesa, that was a week where it was our first senior game. It kind of flew past, to be honest, because it was we won big over them, but at the same time we actually got smacked in the mouth out of the gate, actually, I think, and then we kind of just figured out, all right, we need to play some Red Mountain football. I remember just as Zay being in just his jersey on the sideline, not being able to go in was painful for him. But that's whenever I had to play running back, and I didn't see defense for a while after that. So, yeah.
Man, that's a throwback. What about you, Seth? What are your thoughts on that game?
that game was definitely, like Carson said, it was a little bit, I think, if I remember correctly, it was a slow start.
Yeah.
It was just coming from last year. I know Zay didn't get to experience it, but when we beat them in the playoffs, they came over to our house and they broke that glass
fishbowl
in our locker room. And that's all I was thinking about the whole time was how cocky they were, and they thought they were the best team in 6A. So we had to show them a little bit what's up, and they found out later in the playoffs too. So
Zay, do you know about the fishbowl incident?
I learned about the fishbowl incident. I didn't even see a video on it.
So for those of you who are listening right now, the head coach of Mesa's football team, I think his name is Chad DeGranier, he brought a fishbowl. He started throwing rocks and ping pong balls in it, and then this happened in our freshman locker room. He started saying, "Gotta believe, you keep believing," and then you're the best team in the state. And he threw the fishbowl into the freshman locker room bathroom, and it made a whole mess. And that happened last year in the playoffs, I believe.
yes,
And then we smacked them in the mouth.
Did they clean it up?
they did not clean it up.
Wow.
I thought they
If
did.
I remember correctly, I did. Do they?
I don't know. I thought they did, but I could be wrong.
Maybe, I don't know. If I remember correctly, that's what added to it. Was
It's
they
just
didn't
like
clean it up.
disrespectful. Anyway.
The great fishbowl rivalry.
Well, and there was also like 1,000 marbles in there too.
But anyways, the week after that, I believe it was against Helix in California.
Felix. Yeah.
And that's got to be a memory that you guys will make for a long time. So yeah, what transpired?
So that bus ride there was cool. It wasn't as cool as the year before, because like we did that last year, but it was a cool experience to go through with my class and with all the seniors that I know. But it wasn't the outcome that we expected, but it was still a very good memory. I actually I got to see one of my youth coaches that I haven't seen in for years. He coached me all through my youth team. He gave me my nickname, C-Swag. He was just a super cool guy, and he coached for Helix. And so it was cool to see him, but that game was kind of a blur, to be honest. Like we weren't playing our game. We were kind of, I don't know. We definitely got outplayed, and they did their homework. We kind of just walked up in there.
Real quick, what was it like standing on the sideline of the Helix game?
I wasn't there.
You weren't?
I didn't.
Yeah,
go.
I remember he wasn't there.
I didn't go.
Transfers didn't go.
I think no
Rock
transfers
went.
did go. I
Rockland.
think I had family coming into town. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think my aunt came into town, and I was just like,
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think.
no. Actually, I did.
Oh, there.
Yeah, I was watching film on the Helix game,
Okay, so
and yeah,
Like
I just remember George fumbling on like
Oh my
our like 5-yard line, and
George got lit up by like 4 different coaches.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him.
I don't know. It just didn't look like we were a good team.
So Desert Ridge, he beat them 36 to 30.
Gosh,
And
on
that
the
was
sideline, I was
on their
literally
homecoming night.
biting
And we
my
almost
nails
choked.
off.
We
I was
almost
biting
choked.
my nails
came down
off
to the
on
last drive.
sideline.
Let's just
I
say
was
that.
like,
Stressed
no
me.
way.
I'm not gonna lie, their signs were kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I remember their signs.
What
They
were
were.
their signs?
The
I don't
signs
remember
the
any
signs
of
were
them.
like, oh, we set our password to Red Mountain, but it was too weak.
I also played left tackle that entire game.
Yes.
I started at left
Wasn't
tackle.
there like a scout there?
The UNLV coach was there.
So what happened that made you play left tackle?
So Hector Martinez kind of got so sick he was like in the
my
hospital,
goodness,
Oh, God.
Yes.
and I don't know. I kind of got put in the position, and I didn't know any of the plays, and I couldn't learn them. I'm not that quick of a learner, so they pretty much dumbed down everything to exactly what I was supposed to do on the card, like step by step steps of everything. And that's probably why I did so well that game on left tackle, was because I didn't have to think about anything. I just looked at it, kind of
Right.
did it.
Yeah, Zay. You just look at your
Yeah,
card.
you just look at a card, right? Just
Say,
write it
it's
straight in the end
true.
zone.
You just look at a card. I played offense last year. It was just-
Okay.
The corners and safeties don't even get cards.
It's all in the head, man.
I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm not even gonna say anything.
All right. And then after that, home game against Westwood. I mean, nothing to explain about that.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was just a fun game. No, it was nice to get licks on what was his name? He transferred from Mountain View, their quarterback. What was his
Gio?
name? Gio.
Gio,
Yeah, it was
Gio.
nice to get licks on Gio. But that man is
That
tall.
he thought he was him.
I know. Yeah, he had the new Rydell on, thinking he was him. Nope.
After that, we played undefeated Williamsfield.
That
Beat
was
them
the
40 to 20.
best.
Put a
That was
K
the
on it.
best
That was-
Red
that's
Mountain
when-
football game.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
when I
I've
was
been
like,
to.
we've
we're
ever
a good
played.
team.
Like I think we
At the time.
Yeah, at the
the
time,
time.
at the time, man. Like I know defensively we were lights out. I mean, we shut down everything that they could possibly throw at us. We had their D1 commit, their Iowa State commit, Dylan Lee. We shut him down. We made him tap out. They just couldn't get anything rolling for us, and we were just having a good time. Everybody had a good game that game. Me, Champ, JMO. Seth had a good game. Like everybody was just having fun eating that game.
I would just say as a unit, like the entire team, even defense and offense, that had to be the most fun game because it was like we were all hyped. You like get out there. There's like the crazy pictures taken of like what was happening. You know, there's a funny picture of all of us freaking out like when we did good and the running back was on the floor like doing this, like shrugging to the quarterback like what just happened. And that picture and like just that picture summed up the entire game. It was just crazy fun.
Yeah, and to hold a 2,000-yard rusher to like under 100 yards that whole game, like it was crazy to me.
By the way, that offer should have gone to Isaiah.
Just the atmosphere of the game was like different. Everybody was like flying around the field and whatnot, and seeing that on the sideline and witnessing it was pretty amazing.
And after that, the newest transfer on the team, Zay Savoie, enters the game against Highland. Unfortunately, it is a loss. How did you guys feel about losing to Highland?
Man, I was really trying to get back for the past 2 years. You know, that was the first loss that really hurt. That because as a senior, I was pretty sure like that they were gonna make the open. We weren't gonna have a chance to play them again, and they're gonna have that over their heads for the rest of their lives. So like that really hurt to me. But you know, we moved past it. And
I would say that game as like a whole, like I know there's a bunch of personal things like our get backs and stuff, but from like a standpoint of like where we're gonna stand after that game was really gonna show us if we're gonna open team or a close team. If we beat them, we were rolling with the open big dogs. If we didn't, like there's still a chance, but you know, we're gonna do whatever. And we were up at half, and as a unit, I think we played a good game.
yeah,
There was obviously some things that needed to be done that was different. It was a good team to like get battle tested too.
We played a good game. I'm not even gonna lie. When you look back on that game, we had some explosive plays, and our defense, to be honest, for the team that Highland is, did really good against them. Like, and then when you think about our offense matching them, we there was a touchdown that got called back on some chop block call on the goal line, which is never called in high school, college, or the NFL. It's literally the goal line. So it's really hard to chop block if everybody's cutting. So that got called back. If we implement that in there, I'm not saying we win, but it's like, what would that be, 22-25? That's a 3-point game. Like, that's the same with ALA Queen Creek. Like, I don't know. We were up there.
Yeah.
We could definitely tell how good of a team we were by that game, and I had just gotten back, so I was thinking like, we're good. There wasn't a doubt in my mind that we weren't a good team.
Speaking of LA, Queen Creek, you guys lost that one on a last-second field goal, 17-14. What other factors contributed to that?
Man, that one, man, I didn't even feel. I mean, of course, the loss hurt and all, but like we were good. Like defensively, we held them to 14 points the whole game when they were averaging way more than that. And I felt good after the team. Like I had confidence that we held them to that. Like that loss, like I said, it hurt, but then it didn't. I wasn't dwelling on it. I think they were the 4th in the state at the time, and we held them to that game. That game could have gone either way. They literally won by a last-second field goal.
There was a 3rd down and 2, and we didn't get it. It was on like the 50-yard line going in. If we got that, whether we kicked a field goal or got a touchdown, it would have been a completely different game, and our whole season from that point would have changed completely.
Throughout the playoffs, we had this like chip on our shoulder because everyone thought we were what people thought Red Mountain was and Red Mountain football was. I would say that stereotype almost started with that game because we were going over there and we had to deal with all these preppy boys that paid a lot of money for school. So like that kind of started our fire under our butts for being that type of team that everyone, you know, we're a gritty team, call us ghetto. We showed up with a boombox playing it like NBA Youngboy. Like that's the type of team we are, and that kind of like that's where that started.
Hamilton.
Hamilton, our offense couldn't really get going because it was Hamilton, but in the second half we started clicking, and I think for that was the best second half that our offense has ever played, and I stand by that. Well, besides like me, like I made a couple mistakes in the second half, but like they capitalized on it anyway. Like Bodie Wagner and Gunnar Moore and Simon Lopez, like they all capitalized on their opportunities. Even if I didn't play good, they played good, and the offense played good in general that second half.
And the next one, senior night, the last game of the regular season against Mountain View. A lot of bad blood between two teams.
Even though we beat them the next week, I'm still mad.
Yeah. It was our senior night, man, and
that's crazy.
Like I was just like looking at myself, man, we're really losing to Mountain View right now.
Wild.
Like, bro, come on. And you know, there's really not much to say. I don't know. We went in there kind of. I wouldn't say like we had the juice. Like we've always played hard. I don't know. We just weren't clicking. I guess defensively they were picking us apart. Things were going good for them, but you know, everyone knows that it's hard to beat a team twice in a row.
Very rarely do you get the opportunity to play someone twice in a row,
let alone our rivals.
Yes, and that does not happen very often. And then you show up to Mountain View, first game of the postseason, you're ranked the 12th seed, you have no momentum going into the year. You go into their stadium and then you beat them on what is probably the most memorable game you will probably ever go to or partake in.
Put a K on it.
Put a K on it.
I don't know. It just felt good. It felt really good.
Zay's first win.
Yeah.
It felt good the moment it got announced on that TV in the weight room.
Yeah,
I could just tell
that
team.
video.
Yeah, it was a different vibe.
It was
like
different.
how we go into film, like even when I wasn't playing, like and we would win, like it was like we would make mistakes and stuff. But like after the Mountain View game, there was really nothing about mistakes.
Yeah.
There was just like this is how we're gonna get better and this is how we're gonna beat them. Like we had already beat them before we even got to practice on Monday.
Yeah.
Like we literally, it was gone. We were done.
You know, it was my first experience being in the playoffs, and making it past round one was honestly really something like I've never like felt before. It was like a feeling I've never felt before, and it was great. I love that feeling.
Then the following week, you played number 4 Pinnacle.
Man, that was a good game. That was a really good game. I have a lot of respect for their quarterback because I was watching all like the state games that this YouTuber covers, and that dude was a sophomore 2 years ago that went to the chip. He was the starting quarterback when he was a sophomore when Pinnacle went to the 6A state championship. And so like I had a lot of respect. I still have a lot of respect for him. I mean, he was only a junior this year, and so he's still got his senior year to go. But you know, that Pinnacle team they were very talented, very physical, but came down to, can you stop Zay Savoie in Wildcat formation?
And can you score on defense, or are you just going to settle for a field goal?
Yeah.
No, that was beyond me. That was crazy. That was the first time that I think I've been a part of like a game winner. Like, I don't think I've ever had to. Like, all the games that I played in, going all the way back to Pee Wee, it's either been we won pretty good or we lost really bad. There was only one game. It was my 8th grade year. We went to the championship and won in overtime, but I didn't even make the game winner. So it was like all the pressure was on me, and it was like the first time I've ever been like nervous. Like I was like in the huddle, and I was like, my heart was racing. I was like, oh no. We got up there, and I was like,
But that
crazy experience.
first carry, you
Yeah.
got like
After
8
that,
yards.
it was over. I was like, I just got 7 yards. I only need 3. It's over.
And thus a legend is born. Important to note, one of your punts got blocked, and
Yeah,
all important thing, if you block a punt, it's
okay, 80
almost
something.
an 80% chance that you win the game off of that. How do you think we capitalized off that?
I think we didn't even let that phase us at all. We're like, all right, let's go. Like our confidence and the way we were, our mentality was, we didn't let any lows throughout the playoffs get low. Like that was a problem heading into the playoffs. Like when we were down a touchdown or 2, we were dead. I don't think that got to us at all. And then we stopped them. They didn't score off of that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, yeah, they definitely didn't capitalize on that situation. Like, I feel like if you're going to win by 80%, or like that chance goes up by 80%, you're going to capitalize on that, and they just didn't.
Then in the semifinals, you play the Prep Boys at Brophy, and there was a lot going on. I believe that's when the Woodshed nickname was kind of born. So what led up to that game?
And that game, we were all stoked. We that's our 3rd time playing Brophy in the playoffs. It was kind of a rivalry, some people would say.
Third time in semifinals too?
No, so
No.
we played them in the quarters.
No, I mean you're.
Oh
Red
yeah,
Mountain's
third straight
in a
time
row.
in the
Yeah.
in the semifinals. You know, like we've got to get over this hump. In my high school career, that's as far as we've been going.
Yep.
And for us to get past that was really good, and then for us to beat Brophy again was good. They're kind of, I think, we're their Highland, to be honest.
Right.
They're like, the way we feel about Highland is the way they feel about us.
They had some talent on that team.
Yeah, they did.
They had some talent.
And they had probably the best O-line that I've been
Yeah,
They
Yes.
had
Yes.
the best
all year.
yes, They had.
They
the
had
best
some dogs.
defensive line that I've ever played against. Period.
Yeah, I think that's what probably got them to that point, is their O&D line, because that
Yeah.
just shows you how important a O&D line really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, then again, Zay in Wildcat formation, man, same exact stuff.
Literally same exact play. That was
Except
was
Fitzgerald
it-
was watching you
was it
this
the same
time.
Yeah,
it was the same exact play. We didn't put any other plays in except for that one. I think after the Pinnacle game, like everybody on the sideline was like, we need to just run that play. We came out, I think the first play was like a blast left or a blast right, and like I got like 2 to 3 yards, and I was like, oh no. Then I got it again, and it was like probably 5 yards, and we were on the 2 to 3 yard line or something. And then I got in. Actually, I got in on the next play.
I think you just walked in there after you got through people.
Definitely
Oh,
Yeah, that
oh,
was
wait,
when
no,
they
that- oh,
slammed
yeah,
the
that-
ball
that's
across the goal line.
Yeah, that's when he was getting tackled and you went over
you
like that.
slammed that thing.
Yeah. And then play that I got in the end zone for the touchdown, I think we had like called a timeout because we had like one timeout, and like Coach Enders like calmed all of us down and everything, because sometimes like the O-line just sometimes needs to like take a breather. Like they need to like think about their jobs and everything and how it's gonna line up against the defense. And I guess that's like what he did. And we're actually gonna run a boot play or a reverse with Bodie. And Coach Enders, I don't know what he said to our OC, but somewhere in there was a call made that we needed to run the ball again. And then I got in the end zone on that play, and then we stayed on the field. That's again when my heart started racing like it did in the first Pinnacle game. I was like, this is crazy. My visor was so dirty. Like, it was so sun-bleached and yellow. It was gross. I couldn't see anything. All I remember is the ball coming in slow motion and me having to run through number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was literally running, and I was like, there is no lane. And he was the only person standing in the open lane that I saw. So I just had to run through him. And that's the end of that story. Shout out to Weston, because the ALA Queen Creek game on that 3rd and 2, he slipped and fell down, reoccurring incident. And he stayed down, but I think the person that he was blocking, he shot through the gap, and that's why he fell down. But in the Brophy prep game, he fell down, he got back up, blocked the dude, and proceeded to like nudge me into the end zone. Like,
Dang.
that's big ups to Weston, because like that shows growth for sure, and I can't wait to see what he does next year.
I would say as a whole, when you think about football, those last 2 plays, those last 2 drives in both of those games is like football. Just like they knew we were going to, well, excuse me, in the first one they didn't, but the second one they definitely were like, what worked, they'll go back to. And they still couldn't stop it. Like, it was just straight football at that point. That's like kind of how Red Mountain football is all about. It was just straight. You knew we were going to run the ball. Stop it. You didn't.
All that after being down 21 in the first half. Then you could move to this championship. You beat the number 1 seed. You play number 3 Saguaro, who I believe were a little mad after they didn't get selected for the Open. But you finished it at what could be considered as the highest point in high school sports in Arizona, aside from the Open. I just want to talk about the experience of being in the championship game.
It was unreal, man. It was just walking through that tunnel at first before warm-ups. It was crazy. It was cool to see the real grass, and as soon as they put on that music, man, I'm like, dude, I can't hear anything. Like this game, I'm really gonna have to look at my wristband and look at those things, because I'm not gonna be able to hear anything. And then as we were warming up, I just kept seeing floods of people in red shirts coming. I'm like, man, that like there's just multiple times where I just looked up and I'm just getting this feeling like I want to cry. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Like I couldn't keep my eyes off the crowd, and I'm thankful for all the support that the community has given us.
Yeah, that's the biggest
Shout out to the community. Y'all
biggest
did
turnout
amazing.
I've ever seen at a high school football game.
4 times the size of Solano.
Easily.
Yes.
And I think they're closer to the school or to ASU too.
They're North Scottsdale.
Just like seeing the stadium from afar looks so huge, and to be in there just like on the main stage, it just felt like a dream. It felt like it wasn't even real.
Nah, for real. I
Like seeing
I
yourself
can say
on the
that so far.
Jumbotron, the national anthem, just like everything, and like feeling everybody's eyes on you, just like
everything was different. Like,
everything was different. It's like
literally like the most minute details were just completely different in the championship game. Like from the refs' calls, like you can hear it all the way throughout the whole stadium.
Yeah.
And like when you try to hype up the crowd, they literally sound like an NFL crowd on TV. Like it's wild. Like it's a lot different, and especially playing in the morning. I don't know. I just feel like the vibes were like off. Saguaro, they had been there. They've been there. I don't know what they said. Like
14 times, and that's
like,
close to a state record.
None of the people that were playing on the field that day had ever been to a state championship. Like they might have watched it, but nobody on our team. Like I think you were in 8th grade last time.
Yep.
Yeah. So none of us have dressed out. So none of us were used to it. Like it was definitely a different experience, and especially playing in the daytime for the first time since like Pee Wee.
Yeah.
Like it was just different.
Yeah, it was weird I was having the sun in there. I'm like, man, the sun is like, I feel like it's just awkward. The sun is shining on me. Like I'm usually under the lights and stuff.
Yeah, we're thinking it's going to be like a cold afternoon, and then once the first quarter ends, it's kind of like, okay, it's actually kind of hot out here.
I feel like another like big difference is like high school football, especially at Red Mountain. There's that track.
Yeah.
It was like you got off the field and you got done with your little meeting on the sideline, and you went straight to like the opposite side of the offense. And if it wasn't the student section right there, it was the parents.
Yes.
And there was no separation. And it
Yes.
just felt completely different.
They could literally like touch you.
Like you
it
could
was-
high five them, and like
Yeah.
it was just like you were smiling, and you can do every single movement you made. They were looking at you. It was like just
Weird.
completely different.
Everything.
Every little
Literally everything.
Also,
Yeah.
like, is it just me, or is it like you watch a football game on TV? They treat the stadium as this like big thing. It's like it's massive. And then you walk onto the field, it's like it's just kind of small.
Literally
Yeah,
the same size.
yeah.
Like it's just
How big the stadium was though when it came to seats made the football field look small. Like I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree on that. But like, whenever I kept looking at myself in the jumbotron, whenever that I'm just like doing this, I'm like, wait, how much is there a delay? So I'm like doing this.
It's like,
I'm
yeah,
I'm
wait,
like,
that's
I'm
me.
like,
Yeah, that's
dude,
me right there.
But like, I'm like, dude, this is really good. Like, it's like not even a second delay. Like, it's
Distraction.
crazy. It's the same field, and it's gonna be the same field. The only thing that changes is hashes. They're just closer together in college. And then I thought
I assume
I
they
thought,
painted the hashes. to
No,
be-
hashes
they
are
did.
different.
They did,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I
no,
got,
yeah,
hash.
they painted it further. But the goalposts, I thought that was gonna throw off Kai. They were like they looked way smaller.
Shout out to Kai. He's been doing great also.
Love you,
no,
Kai. We love you,
Kai.
Kai.
Love you, Kai. All right. One final question to wrap this up. What do you think is your favorite moment from this season?
Brophy game. I don't know, just the knowing that we're going to the championship was really nice, and I saw Enders and everybody was hugging each other, and it was just pure joy, you know.
Yeah, it was surreal. Like when you are experiencing it, it's like, oh, this is kind of cool and everything. Like people are jumping on you. You're hurt after a game and everything. You're talking to news people. It's kind of awkward. But like when C Klein posted that video,
The like the 1 minute
the
video.
long,
the long one.
The 6 minute
the
one.
1 minute video, it was like he edited it, so it was like cut differently. So it was like seeing this person, seeing this person, seeing this person. When he posted the long one and you just saw the camera following all the way around, it was like a movie. Like
It was
like he was following around, looking at all the people. Then he would zone in on Ben, and Ben would go crazy. And then he would start following again, and then he'd zoom in on Gunner. And then I was just like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And we're gonna watch these when we're like 60 and be like, this is peak.
We
Yeah,
love you,
man.
C Klein.
Yeah,
C Klein,
credit
your
to
C
C
Klein,
Klein.
your work
Yeah.
is insane. Your work
And
is
I
amazing.
was like feeling bad. Like I thought he was gonna leave us after we were losing a whole bunch. I'm like, man, this guy's making videos for this team that's losing, bro. I kind of feel bad. But then like as we started winning, I'm like, bro, the story couldn't be better. And
Oh my
I agree.
goodness.
Probably beating Mountain View in the first round of the playoffs. Probably because just like the feeling that you weren't promised another week, and like all of us fighting for another week of football just like felt super surreal. And then when our student section hopped the fence and rushed the field after, bro, it was just crazy. I saw like all my friends.
All
I
three
just
of the
seen-
games just like rushed the field. Like our student section has got to be one of the
Oh, yeah.
most like
Yeah.
interactive for sure. That's what it. Yeah.
Shout out to
Just
Stud
the
Coach.
spirit.
Shout out to
Shout out to
Spirit
Stud Coach.
was just there.
section, bro.
Neighbors next door.
Yes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Shout out to Zone.
Hey, shout out to that kid that got trucked by a Mountain View coach, by the way,
Oh, yeah.
during
What?
that.
Huh?
What?
Excuse
So
me.
he, I'm not gonna name drop, but a certain kid got like he ran to the very front and was like, "No, tore her down." And this, I'm not even joking. One of their coaches just laid his shoulder straight into him. You can see on that video he gets flopped.
No, that's
Like straight flop.
legal action has to be
Hey,
taken about that. That was
so Seth, what's your senior memory for this year?
I would say it's the Mountain View one too. I don't have much like it's either that or the Brophy, and they both got said. So it was just Mountain View knowing you could go to In and Out after, and anyone that said anything.
Is
it's
that
just-
the go-to spot?
you know
In
it's
and
when
funny.
it comes down to anything Mountain View? Yes.
Hey, I
Like
went to
if-
the Pinnacle game. Can't remember if it was the Pinnacle or Brophy.
I
game.
think it was Pinnacle.
But I
you
wanna
went
say
to
Pinnacle.
the
I
you
went
went
to the In and Out right by Pinnacle
Yeah.
because I didn't ride the bus home. I was with family, and it was like everybody was looking at me. Like I could tell like these kids were on the team. There was kids from the student section, cheerleaders. It was super busy, and I was the only Red Mountain person in there.
Have you been to the Red Mountain In and Out
No.
after a game?
No.
It's the exact same thing.
Oh my goodness.
Just half the time it was Red Mountain and Mountain View doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, but I was the only person. It was just me. I was like, no way. I like camp.
Oh,
Camp's a
Camp
good
was
memory.
Camp was fun.
That's-
Hey, remember the last night at camp we went around and
Oh my goodness.
my
Fun times. I'm
God.
thinking about those.
Bro, you
You
found
know-
out some stuff that you like. I found out some stuff that I would never think of us
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at someone and then you learn their whole life story and lore, and you look at them a different
Carson,
way.
is that what you were talking about?
One of the best things about football.
Were you talking about the senior talk, or were you talking about when we went out to all the cabins?
When we went around to all the cabins.
Yeah, we don't speak on that. We don't speak on that.
When we were waking everybody up with flashlights in the middle of the night saying, get up, get up.
Oh my goodness, that was.
Hey, that 6-person
So
cabin, that coach's
funny.
cabin.
Oh my God.
W.
Oh, no.
W.
The
Yes.
6-person
Oh my
cabin
goodness,
was
the
not
skunk when Preston and I don't remember who else. They were like messing with a skunk. There's no way that skunk
No.
didn't.
We were, but before that, I forget who was on the field with. Were you out on the field before? Was
Yeah,
it
and
just
we
me?
were laying
Yeah,
down.
it was
and
like me,
pure
Champ,
darkness.
Gunner, Zay. Oh yeah, I guess it was.
It was our
No,
seniors.
but this time there was just a handful of us, and we were just sitting out there, like waiting for like everybody already went to bed. Coaches
Yeah.
like were coming to
It was
say
like
like
11:30.
lights out. And we were just seeing the stars because the stars were amazing. Like we
Oh
saw
my
shooting
goodness.
stars.
If we had our phones on us, then we'd be taking like
Surreal.
Yes.
about 1,000 photos.
But then we were just sitting there in the dark, and then we see a skunk, and it's like going around. We're like, oh, there's a skunk, and then Cole points out that there's a fox too, and like we're like watching too, and the fox was hunting the skunk. Skunk started like saw him and like pointed up his tail a lot more, and then like I don't know like, and then the skunk started walking towards us, and that's when we got up, and then the coaches came out and asked what we were doing. We're like, we're running from a skunk.
Fun
But then,
times.
yeah.
I remember we were like, oh, we want to go home. We want our phones, everything.
Yeah.
But now it's
We
like,
did not.
I want to go back there.
Yeah.
Like, I want to.
What I would do for that right now.
Yeah.
Hey,
no, for real.
I don't
Like,
want to. I don't want to go back to the food though.
The food is
No.
fire. I don't care.
Dude, I didn't.
I don't
there
care
was
what
like
nobody
one
says.
or two good food options.
Nope.
Dude, I did not like the food, bro. By the time I got there, bro, all the banana pudding was gone.
Yeah, we had a nice cabin, but we never got told when food was ready.
Yeah, we never got told food was ready.
Oh.
But it was. I felt bad for some of you guys though, because it was like 90 degrees in those huge cabins, man. Like I
Ours
walked
was-
in there.
Mine was nice.
Mine was freezing. Like,
Mine was nice.
literally
I slept
cold.
on the couch.
Oh, yeah. We were in the same
Dude, no, like the ones that like the underclassmen had to stay in.
Yeah,
Auschwitz.
those
And then the
were-
one that like we called Auschwitz. Yeah, like there was
Terrible.
it was like the one with the red with
was
all
literally
the,
a prison
the
camp.
wood.
Oh, the wooden
that
ones were
was-
so hot.
Bro, it was so hot.
Ben, how about you take us through the famous C-Klein pan to you after the Brophy game that's gone crazy across campus? Walk us through that. How did that feel to know that people from your school were watching you? And
know you.
Yes, they know you now.
You're
How
famous.
do you feel?
I've been famous actually.
You were famous.
Everybody
Been
knows
famous.
Drake. Everybody knows Drake on the
Way
campus.
to be humble.
Yeah, I'm the real Drake.
We'll tag.
Oh.
We'll tag you in the post, Drake. Don't worry, we'll get you followers.
Yes, sir.
I think that's it for this episode. Thank y'all for joining me.
Of course, thank you for having us.
guys,
man.
thank you.
Love you.
Love you guys.